Okay, let's dig into this. We're doing a deep dive today on something called the Howey test. Now that might sound a bit, legal heavy, but trust us, it's super relevant, especially if you're looking at real estate.
Absolutely.
We've got a whole bunch of material here, some pretty complex stuff, some, let's say more straightforward guides to really nail down the core idea.
Yeah, boiling it down.
Our mission really is to cut through the jargon, give you the essential bits, the valuable nuggets. And why should you care?
Good question.
Because understanding Howey is like having a decoder ring.
Yeah.
It helps you figure out when a real estate deal stops being just buying property and turns into an investment contract.
Which is basically a security, like a stock.
Exactly. And once it's a security, specific rules kick in, rules designed to, protect investors.
And to really get it, we kind of have to jump in the time machine, go back to where it all started.
Right, the origin story.
Yeah, the Howey test wasn't just dreamt up. It came straight out of this really interesting Supreme Court case way back, 1946.
1946, wow.
Yeah, and the company involved was called W.J. Howey Co. They were down in Florida.
Okay.
Now, their business model was pretty clever for the time. They owned these big orange groves. Oranges. But they weren't just selling the fruit. They were selling small plots, actual tracts of the grove land to different people.
Okay, selling off bits of the farm.
Sort of, but
Okay.
here's the kicker. Along with the land, they offered buyers a second contract, a service contract.
What kind of service?
Where Howey Co. themselves would, cultivate your plot, harvest your oranges, and then market and sell the fruit for you.
Ah, okay, so you buy the land, but they do all the farming work.
Precisely. And a lot of the buyers, they weren't farmers. They lived elsewhere, maybe up north. They were just looking for, a return on their money.
Hoping to profit from oranges without actually touching an orange tree.
You got it. So the Supreme Court looked at this whole setup, the land sale plus the service agreement, and they had to decide, what is this? Just land or something more? And their big decision was that the whole package together was an investment contract. And that, under federal law, is a type of security.
Wow.
So that 1946 case, SEC v. W.J. Howey Co., that's the birth certificate of the Howey test we still use.
Yeah.
Kind of wild it all started with citrus, right?
It really is. From Florida oranges to this, bedrock legal test. Amazing. And the materials we looked at, they explain it really well, almost like it's a special kind of rule book.
Yeah, a judge-made rule book.
Its whole job is to help everyone, judges, regulators, investors like you, figure out when buying or selling something, especially real estate, crosses that line into being a security. Some of the simpler stuff even talks about, like a Judge Howey guiding you through it. It's a neat analogy.
It is. And the core of that rulebook, the actual test, it boils down to 4 key parts. The simpler guides call them the 4 magic questions.
Okay, the magic questions. Let's hear them.
Right. If you want to know if something's a security under Howey, you basically ask these 4 things. First up, the money question. It's simple. Did someone give their money to someone else? Was there an investment of money? Did you put cash into this thing?
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Gotta invest money first. What's number 2?
Second is the team question. Are a bunch of people pooling their money together? This gets at the common enterprise idea.
Common enterprise.
Yeah.
Like everyone chipping in together for the same project.
Exactly. Are multiple investors sort of linked together, aiming for the same goal within the same venture? Think of everyone buying condos in the same building managed by one company.
Got it. So not just my money, but our money working together. Okay, what's 3?
Third is the profit question. Is everyone hoping to make extra money? This is the expectation of profits.
Right. Are you in it primarily hoping for a financial return? Income, appreciation, that sort of thing.
Spot on. Are you expecting to profit from the venture?
Which, is usually the whole point of investing, isn't it? Okay. Money, team, profit. What's the last one? This must be the tricky one.
It often is, especially in real estate. It's the work question. Is someone else doing all the important work?
Wow.
This is about whether the profits are expected to come primarily from the efforts of others, meaning you, the investor, aren't the one doing the main work that generates the return.
So it's about relying on someone else's expertise or management or labor.
Precisely. Think back to the orange groves. The buyers relied entirely on Howey Co.'s efforts to make money. They weren't farming themselves.
Okay, wait. So if I buy a rental property and I'm the one finding tenants, fixing the toilet, collecting the rent, that work is mine.
Exactly. In that case, the profit comes significantly from your efforts, which potentially means you don't meet this fourth part of the test. It's focused on passive reliance.
Gotcha. That's a really key distinction.
It is, and here's the absolute rule for the Howey test. You need a yes to all 4 questions.
All 4.
Every single one. Investment of money, yes. Common enterprise, yes. Expectation of profits, yes. Profits primarily from the efforts of others, yes. If you get 4 yeses, then under Howey, it's generally considered a security.
And if even one is a no.
If any one of those is a no, then it generally falls outside the definition of a security under this specific test. It's like a 4-part gate. You got to clear all 4 hurdles.
Okay, that clarifies it a lot. 4 questions, all question yes.
Wow.
Yes, for security status. Let's make this concrete. Apply the rulebook to some real estate examples, like the ones in our sources.
Good idea.
Scenario 1. You invest in an apartment building. You're one investor among many. And crucially, there's a professional management company running the show. They do everything: tenants, rent, repairs, the works. You just wait for your statement.
All right, let's run the questions. Money invested.
Yes.
Pooled with others in a common enterprise.
Yes, sounds like it. With the other investors in the management company.
Expecting profit.
Definitely. Rent income, maybe appreciation.
Profits coming primarily from the efforts of others, that management company?
Absolutely. They're doing all the day-to-day heavy lifting. Yes.
Okay, 4 yeses. So, under Howey, that kind of managed apartment building investment is very likely a security.
Which means those investor protection rules should apply. Okay. Example 2, total opposite.
Yeah.
You buy a house for yourself to live in.
Yeah.
Your primary residence.
Okay. Money invested. Yes, you bought the house. Pooling money with others for a common profit-seeking enterprise run by others.
No.
Yeah.
It's just me for my own housing.
Expectation of profit primarily from the efforts of others.
No. I mean, I hope it goes up in value, but that's not like profit from a business someone else is running for me. It's my home. The main goal is living there.
Exactly. The common enterprise prong in the profit-seeking sense and the expectation of profit from others' efforts prong just don't fit buying a personal home.
So buying your own house is generally not a security.
Typically, no. Not under Howey.
Okay, that makes sense. One more. You and, say, 2 friends pool your money. You buy a rundown house together, the plan. Fix it up yourselves, flip it, split the profit.
Right, the classic friend flipper scenario. Let's see. Money invested.
Yes?
Pooled together in a common enterprise.
Yes, the 3 friends together.
Expectation of profit.
Absolutely, that's the whole idea, yes.
Okay, now the work question. Who's doing the fixing up? You said fix it up yourselves.
Yeah, let's say all 3 friends are actively involved, painting, managing contractors, making decisions together.
Okay. So if the profits are expected to come from your group's collective work, the investors themselves swinging hammers or managing the Reno directly.
And it's not coming primarily from the efforts of others outside the investor group.
Precisely. In that specific case where the investors are the ones doing the significant work, you likely fail the 4th prong.
So this house flip might not be a security under Howey, specifically because of who is doing the work.
Exactly. That 4th question is often the pivot point in real estate scenarios.
Okay, that really helps illustrate how it works in practice.
So stepping back, why does all this matter? Why should you, the listener, care about this, slightly dusty 1946 test?
Yeah, what's the big takeaway?
The biggest thing, I think, from the sources is this. Just knowing to ask these 4 questions is powerful. It shifts how you look at a deal because it tells you when you should be getting certain protections.
Investor protection.
Right. When something is legally a security, boom, a whole framework of rules clicks into place. Federal, state regulations, often overseen by bodies like the SEC.
And these rules are there to what?
To protect investors.
Yeah.
To ensure fairness and transparency. It often means sellers have to give you detailed information, what they call disclosure prospectuses. You're supposed to know the risks, the financials, who's involved.
So you can make an informed decision, not just rely on a sales pitch.
Exactly. And the materials also stress, if sellers break these rules, if they sell something that is a security but don't follow the regulations, they can get into serious trouble.
Which protects buyers indirectly by encouraging compliance.
Right. Knowing about Howey helps you recognize when you should be getting that protected status, that level of disclosure. If you're offered something that feels like an investment contract, but they're acting like it's just a simple sale with no rules, well, Howey helps you ask the right questions.
That really is the core value, isn't it? Knowing when the security rulebook applies to protect your money. And if we look quickly across the different types of real estate investments mentioned in the sources, it lines up with what we've just discussed.
Yeah, it becomes pretty intuitive once you have the 4 questions.
Like REITs, real estate investment trusts. Companies owning lots of properties, you buy shares. Almost always securities, right?
Yep, fits all 4 parts easily.
Real estate crowdfunding platforms, where you chip in online for a piece of a bigger project managed by the platform or a developer.
Usually securities too. Pooled money, relying on others' efforts for profit.
But direct ownership, buying your own home, or maybe a rental you manage yourself actively.
Usually not a security, your own efforts are too involved, or the primary purpose isn't profit from others' work in the Howey sense.
And the house clipping depends, as we said, entirely on who's doing the actual work.
Spot on.
Wow. So,
Oh.
okay. We went from actual Florida orange groves in 1946
Yeah.
all the way through this 4-question magic rule book and applied it to real deals you might see today. Understanding this test, it really does seem crucial for seeing when those important investor protections kick in.
It really does. And maybe the final thought to leave everyone with, kind of pulling it all together from the sources, isn't it pretty remarkable? This simple 4-part test, born from a specific case about oranges nearly 80 years ago, it's still the main tool we use. It's the fundamental gateway for deciding when investments get wrapped in those crucial rules designed to protect your money. Just asking those 4 simple questions. Money, team, profit, work. That's really the first most vital step towards being a smarter, more critical investor when you're looking at these sometimes complex real estate opportunities.
A simple test with big implications. Definitely something to keep in mind next time a deal comes across your desk. Thanks for digging deep with us today.